Well, here I am, and I'll say hello this way first. I'm going to be talking about rifflers this morning. Hi, because I use, I'm gonna put my coffee a little ways away there. I use these rifflers to smooth out the sculpture as I add and subtract. And I go all around and I smooth out the rough parts that you really have an advantage when you do this because let me turn this back on for the close-up view, because as you can see, a lot of times the choppiness of building it up can distract you from what your actual forms are. And I've already kind of given you an idea about measuring as you go. So let me get the right view. And I've been working on the head a little bit, working on the back a little bit, and just measuring the different dimensions. I'm just doing this right now, right here, as you go. And then if you smooth out the clay after it's been very rough, what you get is you can see where you need to add or subtract. And you keep measuring as you go. And I mean, none of this is like a no-brainer. It all takes concentration and stepping back from it. Let me see if I'll put the one up I'm using right now, just so you can see what I'm referring to. I'll put this on the wall. Hi, Frank and Jackie. Good morning. All right. So what I'm doing is I'm using a riffler tool. You can see it. Let's see if that gets a focus on it. Now, this one is from Guess Wine. And these are the more expensive rifflers. I don't even know if they make the double end anymore, but they do make the single end. And I would say that this size, and you can see it in my hand, is really, really helpful. I got these years ago. They will never wear out. And they are diamond rifflers. And then I got this smaller hook riffler. Let's see if I can get you where you can see. There you go. What it is, it's made of a diamond material, and there's little tiny micro cuts in the actual curved tip there. And so as you go through, oops, I didn't mean to do that. As you go through, say on the face, I would use the smaller one and just very gently smooth down a lot of the detail. And so that way, you're not finished, but you're going to see where you stand, because a lot of times, and I wouldn't do that. I would always do it where I'm looking at it. Let me just switch views for a minute. If I'm going to do that kind of detail work, I have my lamp right here, like I show you my lamp. I have it right overhead, and I just, I look at my reference material, which I have several other reference materials I've gotten together, and I would just, very carefully shave down with the riffler tool the clay so that it's smoothed out, and so I'm not so distracted by the texture that I've created by building up the clay. Now I have to point out that this process can't. Oops, I don't want that light in your face there. This process can't really be done on super soft clay. So I've kind of worked out over the years a really good way to work in this harder clay, because when it cools to room temperature, it will take these fine cuts with this. Let me see if I can get that. Oops, wrong view, wrong camera. I need a camera person, right? There we go. So this very, if I can hold it still where you can see it. There we go. If I can bring it in. It's hard to tell here, but let's take that light up higher so you don't get distracted from it. But any kind of texture can throw you off as well. Colors throw you off, textures throw you off. And so I just go around very carefully and very slowly, and with the riffler tool. And on the larger body parts, wherever I chopped off, and I'll look at my model. I've got some pictures where you can't see them here. Look at my model as I go, especially this view. Let's put that view up. And you can see it at the same time. And I don't want to see fur yet. I mean, you can do that when you're getting started to get a feeling, But now I'm getting into the serious stuff where I really want the form to be correct. So I'm using the riffler to just smooth over what I have. And you can see me doing that. Oh, and hi, Jan. Now, it's nice to see everyone here. This is a process that it's, give and take, back and forth. I'm trying to move it up so you can even see it more as I'm working on it. I don't want you to be distracted by the overhead light, which I need to do this. It doesn't look blown out to me. And, it's a trick of the lighting. That's a little better position for you guys. These look a little sharp and severe, these forms on the head, and I know that right now, but it's sort of orienting me. And in some cases, it's confusing because you have fur and you have color on your, and values, very strong values sometimes on your model. And so it's really hard sometimes to discern. I mean, it would be ideal if every model you ever had was just purely white all over, and that way you could properly judge the shadows. But this is why you have, a need for, I'll get to it, different views of the head like that. And this is in the free guide for anyone who's new today. And what you're doing is, okay, you go so far on the front of the face, and now you're going to turn it and see if your dimensions are matching. So, okay, I'm going from the tip of the nose to the center of the eye. And let me do that a little better here. All right. And I'm a little off. The nose might have to be a little longer, but look at what I just did. I just poked holes in the center of the nose and in the eye. And it's pretty close. Can you see that little dot in the eye? Pretty close. Okay, so now I turn it like this and I go, okay, let's do, just pick a dimension, but I'm going to do the center of the eye to the center of the eye. And I have my calipers, and it's pretty close, but a little off. So I need to adjust. And I went a little high on that. But you can see that, maybe you can see, you know what? I'm going to take this off the base. I don't know if I can do it. And get you close up where you could really see. See the poke holes in the eyes I just did? Okay. So that's how close, let's get it where you can really see it. I don't want to drop it. It's hard to get you to see that. There we go. There we go. So my calipers are pretty close, but you know why that is because the whole time I'm working, I keep checking. And, you can start getting lost. You go a little too far, and you just realize you went way too far, and you have to pare it right way back. That's easy to do. It's part of the learning process as well. And again, you can use the base of the ears and the tip of the nose as a test point, right? So I have right there. This is what you do. You just keep going. Now, the ears are not really done yet, and they look weird. I know that. And then, of course, bobcats have a tuft on the end of their ears. But I even do this thing where I go from the base, and this isn't even going to get there, I don't think, to the top of the ear. And, that's generally okay. So this is what I've been doing, and this is how you get this far. And then now the little nuances take over. And so I highly recommend, if you're using the hard clay, which I also recommend, that you're going to smooth it out. You can do this if you have softer clay. You can do it with your hands. But what I like about the riffler tool on the harder clay is that it creates forms that catch the light in such a way that you can see what you're doing wrong. I mean, granted, you are trying to create an accurate model. So, and then, the other difficulty is that so many of your models, say you have a live animal, they look so different. There are so many different looking bobcats. And one of the things you can rely on is the underlying skeleton or the musculature of these animals is still going to be the same. And that way, if you need to check, if you really need to check, you can look at pictures of the skeleton of a cat. Even a regular house cat has a very similar skeleton, so that when they're sitting, like this was a little confusing. The foot comes this way, and it might need to be chopped a little. And the knee is actually here. And then it comes down and hooks in the hip area. So that's not real evident when you see all this fur. Take a look and you're seeing, but when you look at it and you go, okay, from there up to the knee, right? And then back down to join at the hip. There it is. And then you can see all this is just fur. And it's real tufty and real kind of dramatic. And I'm getting there, but I haven't quite smoothed those areas yet so that I can determine what the direction of that fur is going to look like in the sculpture. I mean, we can see it in the illustration, but it's kind of hard to see in the sculpture right now. So that's the reason for smoothing. The Geisswein rifflers are very different from the less expensive rifflers. And I'm missing one in this set, I think. Let's see, am I missing one? Yeah, there was a round riffler I took out, and I can't find that right now. So there's one that's like this, but this set is like under $10 on Amazon. And these are diamond rifflers, but they're just kind of textury. They're not these fine cuts like the Geisswein rifflers have. So they still will work on your clay. I mean, we're not making diamond jewelry or anything. They'll still smooth it out. So for $10, you get this whole set with the round riffler, which I've misplaced from that set. And you see, this will work to smooth out the clay. And of course, again, this is the hard clay. At room temperature, you can do this. And it really is a great method, I think. When we first, this is, I guess, going back to the 80s, found the use of these rifflers, we were like, oh, these are great. Because it just helps to see how I can just, you can see the light and the shadow in a way that the texture messes up for you. And so that's what's great. And so I could use these inexpensive ones, and I would use the round one, but I'll go back to if you go on GESSWEIN, for under $20, you can get one of these, and really one is all you need. So the hook riffler is what you're looking for. Yeah, I just prefer this so much. And it will last for your entire life. It's made of diamond. And I just love how that goes around curves. So smoothing out my model, and I did it on this side to some degree. I didn't finish, but you can see, and I'm looking carefully at my picture as I go. I'm looking at, let's do some measuring. Let's do some measuring. So there's a foot that kind of comes back like that, you can see, and then that knee. And so I've kind of, you see how I've got that right like that. There it is. This is the key. If you measure, I mean, if you thought you could never do sculpture before, you've got to try this. You've just got to try it. And maybe texture throws you off and you don't know how to do fur, and there's a lot of little forms that aren't in the picture easily seen. Let's put it that way. They're there, but it's not easy to see. But as you do the bigger forms, as you do the larger areas now, and then smooth it out, now get into it with like almost like you close up into it. And now look at what are the forms right in there? And then start to, like, for example, I can see that the fur comes over top of that area there. So I would cut inward on that a little bit. I might use another tool to cut in right here on this foot, because that's like a tuft of fur right there. You see how I would do that? All right, so you know, and you just keep going. You just keep going, and then you see, okay, that's wrong. This is wrong. And now you're going to, I'm subtracting now, but maybe I'll add a little more to that. Like it comes almost back like a tuft, like in this angle. And I don't have that right here. So now in this picture, you can barely see it because it's cut off, but that's the start of the tail. So the tail would come out from right there. And I don't want to add the tail till I've got it all smoothed out. But anyway, back to my goodbye view here. So you can see a real person is actually here, and I will continue to work on this, and it'll transform as you see me going. I'm going to smooth the other side, which is still pretty choppy. Oops, let's get that out of that view. Sometimes what I have behind is obscuring my view a bit. I almost need no background, but it'll get there. And I'm just going to remind everyone before I go one more time, we have this free guide for you to download, and the link is in this video. And also, there's my inspiration to start this whole project in the first place. That was a real Bobcat, obviously, that we photographed years ago, and he posed for us practically. And I'll never forget that incident because it was so cool. But I'll say goodbye for now, and we're going to keep working. And I hope you guys want to try this out and get started. I'd love to see what other people are doing and questions as you go along. But anyway, I'll say goodbye right now. So bye-bye, everybody. Thank you, Frank and Jackie. Thank you, Jan. Bye-bye.